Jaren Jackson Jr. has been named your 2023 Defensive Player of the Year. I know we campaigned for it last week when some of the first couple votes came out, and it was going the way of Evan Mobley and Draymond Green and Brooke Lopez. But it's like we now know Jaren has rightfully been crowned Defensive Player of the Year, averaged 3 blocks a game this season, everything like that. And really just the impact he had, it couldn't be denied. And I'm glad that everybody really noticed that. And the stat that we got to bring up, we talked about Sean earlier. Shout out Sean again. Jaren is like first team all defense hasn't come out yet, but since the same people vote for first team all defense, there's no way he's gonna win defensive player of the year and not be first team all defense. That wouldn't make any sense. So
exactly.
he's gonna be the first player in the history of the NBA to have 2 first team all defense selections and a defensive player of the year at the age of 23. And when you think about like all the great players that have come through the NBA, to be the first person to do anything is always like that's going to be an accomplishment. But especially when you look at the fact that he is now he is on his way to having like a historic defensive career if he can continue like this level of play. Because he's only going to get better at this point. He's still only 23 years old. He has a lot of room to improve. And one thing you talk about, they talked about the minutes argument. Oh, he didn't play enough minutes. Imagine when he starts playing like 31 minutes a game. Like the numbers are going to be ridiculous. Imagine if he didn't miss the first 15 games of the season with an injury. So I think this is the first of multiple defensive player of the years, I think, for Jaren. I think he's probably going to get another one.
Yeah. Listen, I'm happy. I'm happy. Like I said, I think I said on Twitter, this is my championship, obviously, to some extent. Obviously, I'm joking in a way, but like this is what I wanted to see. I mean, again, like with Jaren, like I think, like you said, like he is one of the youngest people to do it, second youngest to win it behind the White, and then one of the 23-year-olds to win it is him, Kawhi, Alvin Robinson, and Dwight. And like again, like you said, he can be better. Like this same dude who still has foul troubles, same dude. And obviously he's been better as a rebounder, but he still could, in my personal opinion, I think he can rebound a little bit more. He could get you up to like 8 rebounds. And I think his fouls can go from like 3.6 to like 3.1 or 3.1, 3.2. So like there's a lot of room to grow, like still. And he might not have the crazy block numbers as much, obviously, because people I mean, maybe, like maybe people still gonna try him. I mean, I guess, if they go ahead and do it, that works for me. It's going to just help his, his stats even more. But yeah, like he's literally on pace to be one of the best defenders in this decade. Like that's not even me like trying to be like biased or anything. Like literally, like this is a special dude you're watching. And I mean they said that obviously at the draft, like when he was coming out, like he could be a special defender, this and that, blah blah blah. But obviously his progression hasn't been linear in terms of his game. Like at first, it was just like, okay, first season he was solid offensive player, solid defensive player with potential. Then the second year, he blossomed into an offensive engine, shooting threes. People thought he was going to shoot 40% from three, but his defense still, kind of not took a step back, but still had the foul issues. Then obviously got hurt in the bubble. Then the third year, he only came back 11 games. You didn't really get to see much of that. Then last year, good defender, but his offense was inefficient. And then this year, you finally see it put together. And again, like I said, there's still another level as we're seeing. Like Jaren had 31 yesterday, and like he was eating, like he was like looking like that dude. Like, and again, I think there's a lot more he could still do. Like he could still be a better playmaker. Like, and like you said, better rebound. Like he still got a lot more to do. And I remember, folks, I'm not gonna say who, obviously, but because there's a lot. I remember the conversations around Jaren year 3. Like I said, year 2, year 3, even last year, like people talking about like trading him and this, like he's not that dude. Like, and I'm like, some of this stuff that y'all talking about trading him for was out of his control. Like having an injury that he couldn't control, like the foot injury. Like people get hurt. Like that's gonna happen. Like he just had an unfortunate start in terms of his, career in terms of having injuries. But like he couldn't help that. It's not like in playing a spot that needs time, like you need reps to play. A lot of this is natural progression. Like a guy with Jaren's talent, I'm not gonna say always figures it out, but usually you see them type dudes, they usually figure it out. Now it's not saying they're gonna figure it out at the same time or like year 5, year 6, but they're gonna figure it out eventually. It's just hard to not see that person figure out how to play this game if you play it enough. And obviously we're seeing that now. And there's still another level. He's only 23 years old. shoot, I'm older than Jaren by a year. Like, dude, he's still gonna get better. And like you said, like defensively, like this year was special. Like he didn't and he was talking like, you know what I mean? Like he was playing well. And like you said, the minutes restriction, whatever you want to call it, like imagine when he starts playing 32, 33 minutes. Like it's gonna be kind of crazy. Like for and mind you, we still won 51 games in spite of him missing them games and him playing limited minutes in time. So imagine when that doesn't happen. Like this dude could still be scary. Like, so like, yeah, like, appreciate this man. Cause listen, not everybody has him. Everybody want to talk about Jaren, but every team wants a Jaren. So that's all I'm gonna say. Everybody want to talk about Jaren like this and that. Like he's not like that dude. I'm not saying he's the best player, but like, like in the league or nothing, but like he's a great player. He's a player that you need to win championships. Like
if you talk about two-way players in the NBA, I don't know, especially well, first of all, if you're talking about like forwards and you're talking about two-way players, I don't know if you can get to 5 before you name Jaren. If you talk about two-way forwards, like I don't know if there are 5 guys that people right now, especially when you consider his age, would take over Jaren. So that's just the way that I feel. Especially when you look at how much better he still can get, and I think that's the big thing. Is obviously like he won Defense Player of the Year this year. Like I said, I think he can still he could probably be a multiple time winner, especially when you look at the fact he's only 23 right now. Obviously, that depends on a lot of stuff like health, especially with the new games played, stuff that they're going to be added coming in the next CBA and stuff like that. So, there's going to be a lot of things that have to happen for that to happen. But when you look at like the foundation that he has already, and the fact that especially like since the All-Star break, this is a dude that has been averaging over 20, I think 21, 22 points per game on offense, 22. Right? Mm-hmm. Then you go in, he's going to have another off season. Hopefully he can just stay healthy throughout the rest of this playoff run, have another off season and continue to work and come back. And this dude is going to come back next year, and he's going to be incredible too. Not to say that we just looking ahead to next year already or anything like that. Yeah, but looking at the progression of how good that he can get, like in the next few years if he can stay healthy, it's going to be crazy. And like you don't want to throw out like a bunch of comparisons, so I'm not going to do that. But he has the potential to be the best two-way player in the NBA, like at his peak. Like he has that level of potential.
Yeah, and I was going to say, this is not my comparison. Please. I mean, I agree with it to some degree. I'm not saying he's going to be the same player. Before y'all hear me out, listen, I don't know if y'all seen it. I don't know if you've seen it too, Bryson, but there's a video when Jaren was, before he got drafted, he's working out with Kevin Garnett. And he was talking about, Kevin was like, hey, I see myself in you. And he was talking to him. And he basically said, I'll have to probably post a clip on Twitter, but he's basically saying, you could be, or he was basically saying, he could be or is the Kawhi of bigs. Basically, he can get you points and can get you a stop on the other end. And obviously, that sounds kind of crazy. And I'm not saying he's going to be 25 or 26 a night. But like you said with the two-way stuff, a lot of guys, especially that one defensive player of the year in the last few years, I mean, you can name Giannis. And I mean, I'm trying to think of one more. I'm trying to think that might be it off the rip that was averaging like close to 20. Rudy Gobert was averaging like 13. And then you got Draymond Green, he averaged 7. Like Jaren's at 19 points this year, like 18.6, basically 19. And that's with limited fouls, like you said, like limited foul, foul trouble. I still think the 3 ball can get back a little bit higher than what it is. I think he shot like 34, 35%. I think that can be 37%. Free throws, I think he could be 80%. So like he's leaving points on the board still. And I think he can still add another element to his floater game. Like, there's a lot to still add, like, because there, like you saw it yesterday, he can get to some counters. Like he'll go to his left, but he'll get back to the right. He used to do that a lot more. But obviously, I wouldn't get back to my counter anyway if they can't stop me going left. It's like with Zach Randolph. We never saw Zach Randolph use his right hand maybe a few times. Like he's always gonna get to his left. So if it's unstoppable, then you got to stop it. And if they do, he still got to counter for it. And so, I'm just hoping he can go healthy into the offseason. Obviously, again, we're not saying this is over. I'm ready to see Jaren on Wednesday. I feel like he's going to ball out. Like he's going to hoop. Especially getting that award in front of in front of the fans. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He going to hoop. I think he going to hoop. So, obviously, like you said, like he could be one of the best two-way players. And obviously, like I said, that's a championship level player. So, like, not everybody has these type players on their team. And we got three guys who I believe can be like guys that can lead you to a actual core championships. You just gotta trust the process and understand like this is all part of it, like the injuries and the ups and downs, like it's all part of it. So you just got to see it through. Like these guys are 23, 24 years old. Like their best days are still ahead of them if you really think about it and look at the history of the league. So yeah, shout out to Jaren, man. Shout out to Jaren. That's all I gotta say. Shout out to Jaren.